that is happening in minutes right now from the CERN control center connected with the control centers of the experiments. I heard that they are now ready for a handshake. So the control center of the LHC, the machine side, is handshaking with the 4 experiments control rooms.
Exactly. When we get close to actually putting the beams into collision, and the control room and the operator in charge is very happy with what's going on, and then basically there is this handshake process. So basically we allow the experiments to actually start turning on their detectors, to actually start taking data. So we're happy with how the beams are going, and basically that we're ready for them to actually switch on these very expensive detectors to start taking the first data of run 3.
It's a precision game in a giant machine. That's what's amazing. What really puzzles me with what you're doing.
Exactly.
Here.
It's very non-trivial, in fact, to actually put these beams into collision. So these are very, very small beams. We said much smaller than a human hair. And of course, going around at 11,000 times a second around this ring, and we have to align them.
A 27-kilometer ring.
A 27-kilometer ring, and have to align them really head-on to allow these collisions to take place in just these 4 different points.
One of the comparisons we make in communication is like shooting 2 needles on both sides of the Atlantic Ocean.
I think they get ready to start this joint now, man. They live in a movie.
A sense of size, how precise you have to be. What is this graph they are showing right now?
This, I think, are the losses that they see, or basically the luminosity, I think. So this, in the end, should show that collisions are taking place. So basically,
that's
at the moment, exactly, this is a bit of noise at the moment, and they're just making sure that they can actually see something happening when they put the beams into collision.
Oh, the losses are less and less.
They said they were starting in like a minute.
Something shooting up on the right-hand side.
They're supposed to be starting at like 4 o'clock on their time, not our time. So I think they're like 6 hours ahead of us or something.
This will be confirmed later on when...
This is in Switzerland.
So now I think we have confirmation that there is collision taking place, which means that we can then handshake with the experiments.
So we are in collision mode with the machine, but detectors are not switched on yet. We are waiting for the handshake.
Exactly. We're waiting for the engineer in charge to actually tell the experiments that they are allowed to switch on their detectors.
They're trying to open up the portals to hell.
So just some final adjustments being made to make sure that everything is ready.
Such a delicate process. The experiments are eager. I can see the faces of the people in the experiments control room waiting for this handshake.
And the announcer just telling the operators which power supplies it's adjusting to try and make sure that these beams are actually colliding.
Because you control one by one each power supply.
There are specific power supplies that are controlled individually to try and make sure that these fine adjustments are made, yes. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Start power group 1579. Start power group 1500.
So I think now what we see is that there is activity in each of the actual experiments. We see the 4 different graphs where we're trying to now optimize the luminosity, so basically how the beams are colliding, and we're just scanning the beams across each other to try and make sure that we've really got them aligned as they should be before we give the go-ahead to the experiments to actually start taking their first data.
Start power group 1587. Start power group 1588.
These are what we call luminosity scans. So a luminosity is a measure of how many collisions are taking place at any time. And of course you can imagine that when we bring the beams together, these very small beams, they're not perfectly aligned head-on. And this means that we have to slowly move them left, right, and up and down to try and optimize where the collision point actually is. And this is what's going on.
This is the job of Daniele, who is now on screen.
Exactly. This is what's going on at the moment. These automatic scans that have been launched to try and make sure that we're now optimized before we get
more experienced colleagues around him,
right.
Because I think it's his first year LHC
It's
operator.
his first year of LHC operation, yes. He came on the team as we were in shutdown mode, so this is really the first year that he's been operating the machine, but doing a very good job of it.
Start power group 1599. Start power group.
So there we have, these are the different scans that are made. The dips are where we go out of collision, and every time it goes up, of course, it's where we basically
problem.
optimize the collision points. So you can see that as we move away in the wrong direction, we actually go down in what we call luminosity, so how many collisions we have. And then as it's optimized, of course, we get to a higher and higher level, and this is what is now being done. And once he's happy with the level for each of the 4 experiments, he will then launch the handshake with them to allow them to start taking data.
Start power group.
It's a thrilling moment. Everybody is waiting. I think the
I don't know who they
experiments are
talk about
already
handshake with
getting-
who.
Getting collisions, but they are not switching on yet.
Not yet. No. I think they want to really make sure that everything is fine before giving the final go ahead.
They cranking it up.
1611.
So this is the final step that's not been done yet this year. This move from this adjust phase.
It's a real
To
first
really the
that we
stable
are
beams.
sharing with the world today.
Exactly. So now
All the eyes are on Daniele
Daniele is
Mirarchi, who has the luck or the bad luck of being on shift today, at the very moment where all the eyes of the world are on him. He's like an orchestra director setting the pace.
Yeah, they
Exactly.
pumping
For the music
two
to go.
particles in that
very
joint.
calm, as you see. I think very professional, and knowing all the steps that has to be taken to make sure that this is all done in the right way.
This is a job that is learned on the job, right? There is no specific training outside this room.
Not really. There's a lot of knowledge, of course, behind, which has been acquired over the years in different ways for Daniela as well. But then the real on-the-job operation is learned in
Acquired
the
different
control room.
ways.
Because you continuously adjust. We're ready to
We're
go.
good to go,
Ready
says
to go.
Daniela.
Good to go.
They talking to demons, man. That's what they doing over there.
All languages are spoken in the control center. I hear Italian, of course.
Okay, so Atlas, okay for you?
I hope Atlas has heard. Atlas is
Atlas
thumbs
gives
up.
the thumbs up.
Atlas is thumbs up. That is. That
Yes,
was.
Alice is ready for collisions.
CMS, are you okay?
Yes, confirmed you are ready for collisions.
Oh snap, they ready.
LHCB, it's for you, okay?
Yeah, fantastic.
So all experiments confirm that they're happy.
So we are counting down to the start of run 3, the moment when the experiments are going to switch on for the first time and be able to record collisions from the Large Hadron Collider at the center of their detectors at the record energy, unprecedented energy of 13.6 trillion electron volt. This is going to happen in 8 seconds from now.
Oh snap. There we go.
Being unstable.
And there we are. Run 3 has officially started. Fantastic. All the experiments are now recording the first collisions, and we have the Director General coming up to the floor to make a statement on behalf of our beautiful laboratory. We are starting the countdown again. What's happening?
We're in stable beams.
We are in stable
We are
beams?
in stable beams.
Are
We've
they
switched to
colliding?
stable beams. We're colliding.
We are
And
colliding?
the experiments are starting to take
The
first
experiments
data
started to
of
take the
run
data, but what happened to the Director General? She was supposed to come to make a declaration. Okay, so this is the arrival of the data from the collisions at the CERN data center, where they've installed an artistic installation. And these colors tell us that the data are actually flowing. This is
From
just
each of the experiments
art.
is coming in,
Yes,
yeah.
and we will soon see the real data arriving to
So
the
this is-
computing center.
Exactly. This is then
And,
transmitted from all of the experiments
Exactly,
into the
from the
computing
center of
center.
the detectors that we are seeing right now to the counting rooms of the detectors of the experiments, and then to the CERN data center, and from there to the world through the LHC computing grid.
Yes, and of course, all the data, we can't handle this all at the same time. So at each of these stages, we actually look at the data, see what's interesting or not, and only pass on the interesting data to the next level. And this is the way that we reduce the data and then make copies of it as well and send this out to all these different places.
And this is happening right now.
And this is happening
right here, right now. We're good for 3 more years of data taking at the LHC. And finally, we have the Director General, Fabiola Gianotti, ready for her statement on the beginning of Run 3.
They just collided the particles, man.
Now here, this
Now they're taking data.
In the CERN Control Center, we just had collisions at an
And they're gonna have this thing on for 3 or 4 years.
And this opens a new era of exploration at CERN, a new chapter. Run 3 of the Large Hadron Collider will give us collisions at higher energy than before, and also an amount of data equivalent to the total amount of data recorded in the previous 2 runs. And this, of course, will increase our opportunities for discovery or for understanding the fundamental laws of the universe. C'est un moment magnifique au CERN. On est dans la salle de contrôle du CERN. On a juste eu maintenant des collisions à 13,6 téraélectronvolts, TeV. C'est une énergie sans précédent et c'est le début du round 3 du LHC qui ouvre un nouveau chapitre dans l'histoire du CERN. Plus d'énergie, plus de collisions et donc plus de possibilités de découvrir de la nouvelle physique ou au moins de pouvoir affronter les questions ouvertes en physique fondamentale. Siamo nella sala di controllo del CERN, abbiamo appena visto collisioni a energie senza precedenti, 13,6 teraelectronvolt. È un nuovo capitolo che si apre nella storia del CERN, il terzo run, il terzo periodo di presa dati di LHC, e l'energia superiore dei fasci e l'intensità dei fasci, il numero di collisioni, ci permetterà di affrontare le questioni aperte in fisica fondamentale con maggiori opportunità di rispondere. And we are now going back to the control center. As we promised, we are going back to them after collisions. Collisions have happened. We are now with the LHCb control room, where I see Chris Parks, the spokesperson of the experiment. Hi, Chris. Everybody's smiling. You were applauding before. This is a magic moment, as the Director General said, especially for your detector.
Really exciting time here. It's been 15 years in planning. We first started to design this new version of the experiment in 2007, and today we get to operate this detector with collisions for the first time.
This is wonderful, and we do hope that some of the hints that you've already seen in Run 2 are going to be clarified during Run 3 in the next 3 years.
Yeah, we really hope that we're going to collect something like 10 times as much data in this next run as we collected before. So hopefully we can see a whole range of new phenomena. Even today we announced the observation of 3 new particles that we observed from the data from the last runs. And let's see what we get from the next years.
Yes, we'll talk about the new tetra and pentaquarks later during the Q&A session. I'm sure there will be.
So they're gonna be running this machine for 3 years.
Don't go away. Celebrate, and we will celebrate together later on. Thank you very much. Thank you, LHCb. We are now
Whatever they're doing,
interaction point 5. I see Luca Malgeri, spokesperson
it can't be good, man.
ready for commenting the beginning of Run 3 at the CMS. Hi, Luca. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you, Paolo. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you. So, are you happy, CMS?
This is a
I can
movie.
hear everybody's happy. Run 3 has started. What's your comment, Luca?
Sorry, Paolo, there was too much noise here. If you can repeat the question,
yes,
please.
Just a comment on Run 3. What are you up to in the new run for the CMS detector?
Yeah, no, I mean, there was really 3 years of hard work for all the people that are here. Actually, there is a crowd here. We are celebrating. We have seen that the first events there. It's really amazing, and it is really a celebration that we are doing here.
I hope you can show the events with us later on.
Actually, you can probably oversee the
we see the collisions in the middle of your detector.
Indeed, and this is what we were celebrating. So for us, it's really, I mean, these were really heavy 3 years, but we are really ready now to go for another Yeah, you're asking for the main display. And I said that this will be fantastic because we are preparing our detector for the next years that come in run 3 really to go even past the doubling of the luminosity
Fantastic.
in terms of reach.
So happy new exploration, CMS, and see you later for the Q&A, Luca.
Sure.
And it's now time to go back to Alice at point 2, where we see Luciano Musa, spokesperson of the experiment. Hello, Luciano. So celebrations at Alice as well.
Thank you very much, Paula. There is a great excitement here and also a growing fibrillation. You know, we've been preparing
You ain't no
since
Luciano.
several years, and now we're starting taking data with the fully revamped
What's up with him?
detector, which will allow us. So this is a very massive upgrade of the detector, the readout system, and online computer system, which will allow us to study proton-proton collisions and a bit later in the year also lead collisions at much higher rates that it was possible in run 1 and 2.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. Happy new season, Alice. And we'll see you later, Luca, for the Q&A. So we're now to Atlas. Fabulous. Andreas Hartberg, spokesperson of the collaboration. I can feel the excitement. I don't need to ask you whether people are excited. We can see it with our own eyes.
Thank you, Paula. I hope you can hear me. You see it is an absolutely overwhelming moment for all of us.
It's as if it was brand new detector.
Yes, indeed. And you can see also maybe on this side the beautiful collisions showing up here. Yes, exactly.
Fabulous.
So, fantastic collision. So this is really an absolutely overwhelming moment for all of us. It is really beautiful to see highest energy beams ever cross and collide in Atlas and giving us physics data again. And I think for me, this is not the first time we restart data taking, but for many of the experts here, the young experts, this will be a lifetime experience for them. They're all now operating the new detector after this long upgrades.
Thank you very much for sharing this fantastic moment with everyone. We are now going to the data center once more. Enrica, are you being flooded with the new data from the LHC experiments?
Absolutely. The data is coming in fast and furious from the collisions in the LHC experiments and the detectors. And so all the data is coming in here in the room behind me that is hosting 450,000 processor cores and 10,000 servers that run all the time. As you can see from this animation, data from the experiments come into the data center, which is connected to the experiments via over 50,000 kilometers of optical fiber. That's more than the Earth's circumference. And so thanks to this network, we are now, again, receiving the first collision data. Now, when the data comes into the data center, two things happen to it. First, it's stored into disks, then it's stored into tape for long-term storage. And after another copy of it is provided to the worldwide Large Hadron Collider computer.
This had to be millions,
with its
hundreds of millions. This is a 17-mile tunnel that they created in between Switzerland and I don't know whatever neighboring country they with.
Scientists worldwide
Underground,
the
17
data
miles.
at their fingertip. So,
17-mile
and
donut.
I think that's an incredible type of
Tunnel.
collaboration that puts together millions of computers that are allowed to provide more than 1.5 exabyte of storage capacity worldwide.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's absolutely an impressive collaboration achievement, if you ask me. And what you see in the screen here right now, that's the image of the data coming from the 4 experiments with the 4 different colors.
So this is live, Enrica?
This is absolutely live. And it comes so as the data is coming in, it's immediately pushed out to the WSCG collaboration centers, red for Alice, yellow for Atlas, orange for CMS, and green for LHCb. It goes to all the different in all the different centers, and I think it's the grid, as I said earlier, never sleeps. And it's thanks to the network upgrades that we've been able to do in the last 3 years that the speed
they walling out.
data travels through worldwide is up to 33 gigabytes per second. That's a factor 8 higher than it had been during LHC Run 1. So I think we are ready for the data deluge that is coming in from the experiments, and so are all of our collaborating centers worldwide.
This is fabulous. This is better than a worldwide orchestra all playing together at the same time. And obviously, nobody ever sleeps at CERN. Everything is happening 24 hours on. Thank you very much, Enrica. You stay with us for the Q&A later.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there will be lots of questions for everybody at this special moment for CERN. Champagne.
So there we are, we're back in the control room, and we've got the champagne bottle ready for the world record highest energy collisions. Just waiting for this to be shared out with the team that's managed to put everything in place.
So we got the best of any possible scenarios. The feat was accomplished before 5.
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour, and you well deserve this bottle of champagne. We are now concluding the multi-language live. We continue in English with the Q&A session. Around the table, we will have the Director General, the Accelerator Director, all the representatives from the LHC experiments, representative from Knowledge Transfer, and in remote, the spokesperson of the LHC experiments and the IT department leader. So I welcome everyone to continue sending questions to our dream team, the social media team that will send them in to myself, and will moderate. I will moderate this Q&A with the directors and the representatives of the experiment. So we're now going to see the highlights of the day. Before we start the Q&A, I take this time to thanks very warmly and very dearly Rodri Jones, who helped me interpret what was happening and commenting and explaining. Thank you, Rodri.
Thanks, Paula. It's been a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. Yes, we have questions from the social media. Here in case so I'm going to share this microphone with you, right? The two of you. You have one microphone on this side to be shared according to... Oh, sorry. Didn't look like one. There should be one on this side. And after. Thanks.
I thought they was gonna start the apocalypse today.
Congrats, great life. We're so lucky. This morning we were not you were a little stressed this morning.
It's crazy.
Okay. Ciao, Giovanni.
I guess it's back to work.
This is the VNR that is going to be given to the press together with images of today. Now here at this moment in the CERN control center, we just had collisions at an unprecedented energy, 13.6 tera electron volt, and this opens a new era of exploration at CERN, a new chapter. Run 3 of the Large Hadron Collider will give us collisions at higher energy than before, and also an amount of data equivalent to the total amount of data recorded in the previous 2 runs. And this, of course, will increase our opportunities for discovery or for understanding the fundamental laws of the universe. C'est un moment magnifique au CERN. On est dans la salle de contrôle du CERN. On a juste eu maintenant des collisions à 13,6 téraélectronvolts, TeV. C'est une énergie sans précédent et c'est le début du round 3 du LHC. qui ouvre un nouveau chapitre dans l'histoire du CERN, plus d'énergie, plus